I built this CRM and these customers for their software in a matter of hours each. Spend a few hours on each project using some of the newest features Replit Agents have released lately. And today, I will be talking to you about some of the features and how you can use them to not only speed up your development, but also improve the quality of the code that Replit Agents provide. By now, I'm pretty sure you know that there's no secret that Replit Agents is my go-to AI coding tool for a little over half of my clients' projects. I like how reliable it is, the fact that everything is integrated, and after all, it's one of the best in the market, at least in my opinion. So I will introduce you today to their new high-powered model, which increases the agent's intelligence by using a more capable AI model, and their standard thinking feature, which is one of my favorite, which instructs the agent to take more time for deeper reasoning and more thorough solution. Now, I know I have talked a lot. Let's jump in. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, let's talk about high-power mode. The high-power mode is an Opus 4, which is a Claude model that allows you to actually get into a little bit more complicated projects or tasks for your project as you're going through it. Before we jump into that, let me backtrack a little bit. So, these are fairly new features that were launched by Replit Agents about a month ago if you are a brand new paid customer, or about a week ago, July 1st, if you were a paid customer before they made the announcement. But basically, whether you are using old project that you have been working on for days, weeks, months, or you are starting a brand new project, the way that you're going to activate these features, and you have to do it individually for every single project, is by going to this little icon down here on the input field and activating the one that you want to use. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the pricing. So similar to most other AI coding tools nowadays, Replit Agent is moving away from charging a standard amount of money for every single task that they do for you. So before, they used to charge a quarter, 25 cents, for every prompt that you would send, regardless of how complicated the task was. Well, now Replit moved away from that model, and now they're charging for the amount of effort that the AI put into completing your task. So if you use the agent, it's going to cost less. That's bare minimum. And that's good enough for most tasks that you're going to do, specifically if you're just building the UI, some of the workflows, and it's nothing too complicated. Now, follow that by standard thinking that costs a little bit more, but is able to reason, search the internet, and is able to do things that the agent is not able to do in order to be able to accomplish the task that you have provided. Now, for much more complicated tasks, that's where you are going to be using the high power model, which again uses Claude Opus 4, and that will allow the AI to actually think through the task and put more effort into it to be able to use it. That one is really expensive. I cannot give you a estimate of how much it's going to cost because, again, it will really depend on exactly what task you're giving the AI, but it's more expensive than the agent. But I have been getting really good results with it, so the cost pays off when you take into consideration that you are actually getting a much better results. You're saving time, you're saving money in prompts in the long run. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at how this will work in a real life scenario, and we will see exactly how Replit Agents go back and forth with using both at the same time. And then I will talk a little bit more about some of the use cases that I see that I will use personally in my own projects, and perhaps can give you a few pointers So I'm going to enter this prompt. Just for clarity, this prompt was generated by ChatGPT. And basically what it's going to do is it will create a system that will test the API integrations that we have already built. We don't have many, only 3 or 4 so far. Yeah, so some of these don't work, but Hunter works, Firecrawl. We have the YouTube API integration and Slack. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to create a system that will make sure that number 1, our keys are not expired. Number 2, the APIs haven't changed. And number 3, more importantly, that our connection configuration is still working and that our customers are not going to run into issues when they are trying to use these integrations. So we're going to activate the high power mode, and it's telling you, hey, it's going to cost you about 5 times the workflow cost. And if you use expanded thinking, it's going to be 1.25. That's fine. We're going to use them both at the same time, and we will leave web search activated because we want to ensure that we're actually getting exactly what we want without having to go back and forth. And just keep in mind, this is just a demo. If it doesn't work out, I will revert it back to my version that was working. But I want to show you and give you a better idea of what we're looking at. While it's working, I will give you short walkthrough of exactly what I've built. So we have a dashboard, we have projects, YouTube integration, still a work in progress, and same thing with the S analytics, still a work in project. It is a work in progress. Then we have a network. I added a few of my contacts and companies, and we got touchpoint reminders that will remind us about different touch points that we need to establish with our clients. Then we got some monetization, some reports that still working on that. Some of our competitor tracking. Again, that's something that I just built the UI, but still a work in progress. Same thing with the workflows. We have some workflows, but this is just demo data. So it's not connected to the database or anything. It's just there for show. We got the integrations here. We got some settings and admin dashboard. So overall, I'm pretty happy with what we have built in the last couple of hours. It's been a work in progress, but let's see what we get of this. And after 15 minutes of work and 2,469 lines of code change, it looked like we're done. So we're going to take a look at the cost, because perhaps that's what you're interested in knowing, the cost, but we're also going to take a look at what it did. So as we're looking at the cost, let's log in. If you want to know how much it costs for the task that it just completed, just under the checkpoint, you're going to see that it gives you an idea of how long it worked and how many line of codes it created. If you click on the drop down arrow, you're going to see down here, it tells you the price. So this specific feature costs $10.57. This is the amount of code that it was created or removed or edited. And here you can get actual how many actions were taken by the agent and how long it took for it to complete the task. And of course, we use stand thinking and the high power model. So let's take a look and see whether or not we got what we wanted. So settings here. It actually doesn't look like we did. Push this to this. Okay, so let's right here. Successfully implemented, created database tables, check it, remote Search system for API integrations, integration notifications, RESTful API, endpoint, integrate with system scheduler, 30-minute checks. It created a Replit. Okay, so it created everything in the backend. Now it's asking me whether or not I want to create the UI in the front end. We're not going to do that right now because, like I said, I may or may not want to actually add this, so I might revert back its original state. But I just wanted to show you exactly how does it look like and what I can do. Now let's talk about some of the use cases and how you can get the most out of these two new features. Everybody have their own opinion on when and how to use high power mode because it's so expensive. You don't want to use it to build your whole project. So I will give you a few ideas of how I will use high power mode for my own projects. And perhaps that will trigger some ideas in your own mind to determine when are the best times to use it. So the first one is going to be when handling really complex integrations like any social media integrations or any integration that require the transferring of data between one service and another one through APIs. Want to make sure that number one, those integrations are built correctly, but more importantly, number two, that are built in a secure way. And I believe the high power mode will give me the best results. In addition to that, after I have built my software, I will use high power mode to go back, review the code base, and do any performance optimizations as needed to ensure that we are using our resources correctly and that we're not overpaying for hosting costs or any other costs associated with my projects. In addition to that, another way that I will use high power mode is if I'm integrating any type of technology that is not well known, I will use a high power mode to try to decipher what is the best way to use those technologies. When I talk about that, I'm talking about perhaps crypto. If I were to integrate any kind of Web3, I will use high power mode for that. Lastly, if I'm creating any kind of complex algorithm, whether that is a social media algorithm or an algorithm to determine machine learning or anything like that, I will definitely use high power mode for that because I believe it will actually get me the very best results possible. Now let's talk about extended thinking. I actually believe that this is a different maker because I'm pretty sure that you are in the same boat as me sometimes where we are just going on a loop in which the AI is not able to fix an issue. Sometimes those issues are pretty complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as make sure that the freaking header is extended the full width and not only a portion of it. But we have all been there, done that. We prompt the AI in 10 different ways and the AI just keep making the same error over and over and over again. So no questions about that. What extended thinking does is you can use it to actually have the AI start thinking through what it's doing and some potential solutions so it can find the exact solution that it needs and can help you move forward. I personally would use this in conjunction with the agent because I don't want to waste my time or my money prompting 1,000 times trying to get the AI to do something that I needed to do. So I perhaps prompt once, twice, maybe 3 times if I'm feeling lucky. But if I'm not getting the results that I want, that's where extended thinking will come in. And I have personally used it in some of the projects that I showed at the beginning of the video, and I have gotten the result that I was expecting. Overall, really happy with the results because it even shows you the reasoning and what it's thinking and what it's doing behind the scenes. So it gives you that confidence that it's actually looking at some of the issues that you might have been thinking about. And the AI is thinking through those, plus a few more to make sure it's getting you the results that you want. And with this, we have made it to the end of yet another video. I want to say thank you. You made it to the end. I really appreciate you taking your time and watching this video. If you don't mind, I would ask you for two things. Please consider liking this video. Help me reach more people throughout the world. The more likes we get, the more the algorithm pushes the video out there. So please help me with that. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. But other than that, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.